Startup ecosystem, what the idea is that you have to learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. And once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of like that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America. We do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about and language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow, send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Yes, you have joined us here on Startup Founder Best Practices every Thursday afternoon, and we had a great day today over in Mobile. How's it going, Nicole?
I'm good. How are you?
That's great. I'm doing good. Glad to have you on. I guess you're out there in the startup world all the time, and we were participating in an event on Saturday. How did you think that event turned out?
Yeah, it was amazing. I was the host. Maisha Pope, who is the founder and visionary for this event. I was just honored that she chose Real Woman Radio to be the official host for her first year. I could see nothing but growth from here.
Okay, so it was what did she name it? Like BK
Black
Business?
Black Business Expo.
Okay, so yeah, it was definitely had a nice speaker line up. So it was I definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, it's always a lot of information at those type of events. So today, had you heard about that Money Fest they've been doing for the last 4 years over in Mobile?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so this is my second year going, and it was a really good day. And I was just thinking about, so they had like, when you do startups, when you decide to go into business, you have some choices. So they have their Money Fest broken out into three categories. One for like nonprofits, one for startups that may be thinking about taking on some investments, and then one for traditional small business where you're going after bank loans and stuff to get money. And so when we came up with this idea for startup founder best practices back 6 years ago, I guess it was in 2020 in the middle of COVID. It was the whole idea was helping founders, learn the best practices for building a startup. And part of the stuff I had learned back, I would say about 12, 13 years ago after I retired from the government was you had a choice of doing a traditional business or a startup business. The startup business, you could get help at the idea stage and get money and move on, but you had to be doing a scalable business model. And so that event today, so like for the investment track, you would have to have a scalable business model. And so that's what the neat thing. And I think a lot of founders don't understand the difference between those three different tracks. And so we work with founders in all the different tracks, but what I like is the reason why I call it Startup Founder Best Practices is because if you want to do the investment track, and you don't have to take an investment, but if you want to do the startup track, you have to have a scalable business model, and you have to know how to communicate with organizations and the people in the startup ecosystem. So, and a lot of that came out in the open today. People were asking all kind of questions. It was like really interesting to see founders that they really not sure what to do.
Yeah.
And so have you been working with small businesses and stuff like that?
I have. I was already working with small business owners with the radio station.
Yeah,
And so that is more or less evolving even more so with brand builders.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but do you see that same story? They're not sure what to do or how to do what,
Yeah, it's definitely I think that entrepreneurship has gotten popular, but with that popularity, there is a misconception that's going along with it. And that is that it's easy and that you can be all over the place and that, it's some seriousness that's not being educated.
Yeah,
It's serious thought on not being educated. And it's actually how I started out my book, Your Brand is the Blueprint. First chapter is on clarity.
okay,
Are
fantastic.
you clear? Before we talk about anything, are you clear?
That,
So,
that's really great. Yeah, we definitely want to get into that. I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and you can go and give us a little quick introduction of who you are and everything.
my name is K Nicole. I am the CEO and co-founder of. In 2016, I decided I was leaving leadership as the executive director of the local Black chamber here in Pensacola, Florida. And while there, I did two women focus events. Um,
Hmm.
2014, women, the conversation of women and their place in the workplace as leaders was not as popular. And so we did Women of Power. First year we did Vivica Fox, and then we did Wendy Bacare Robinson. And when Vivica came in, I was really listening to her story, and I was just amazed at how much we didn't know about her. You think you know someone because you're looking at that character on TV, and then you realize you don't once
Right.
you speak in person. And then Wendy Bacare Robinson, I personally wanted to keep calling her Tasha Mack from her role as in the game, and she kept telling me, "No, baby, that's a character." And then when she told me that when she did do her speak, and she talked about her positive things, how she has a nonprofit in her hometown, how she's trying to stop young women from twerking and things of that nature. Again, it struck me that why is it that we don't know these stories? And so as I began to dig deeper and deeper, I realized particularly African American women, we were being portrayed in mass media in a monolithic tone, and that's usually in an angry attitude, big way. And so I wanted to be a part of changing that narrative. So I created Real Woman Radio.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so, huh?
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know the backstory behind
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Vivica Fox, came to town. Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
a really great event. Yes.
Yeah.
So so you may not know much about this. What we do here is Startup Founder Best Practices. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea, and people
Okay.
that may not be familiar with what we do and how we do it. So, I participated when I retired from the government back in 14 years ago, and was working for the Air Force Research Lab.
Mm-hmm.
I, was doing startup stuff before I retired, but when I retired, I got a chance to kind of do it full time. But in my startup world, so I don't know if you remember this. I had this thing called First Friday Mobile,
I do.
something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, but I probably spent about $200,000
Wow.
in that business, because technology back then, it took a lot to kind of do stuff out there, and so when we launched, I had hired two college developers
Mm-hmm.
and developed the technology, and it took them a while because I had to literally train them, and so, uh, but when we started launching that, I didn't understand the whole business model thing. So I had talked to all the people that were used the app and got positive response. But um, my revenue model was sponsors. So I literally forgot to talk to the sponsors and see what they wanted in
Mm-hmm.
the app. So when I went out to the sponsors, they were asking me, because I went to them too late because the app is already developed and I hadn't included in there what they wanted. And so that was an interesting story. But as I was doing that, I started learning about the startup ecosystem because Facebook had a program that gave you a lot of free stuff, and then AI started coming on the scene in 2014. I said, I know all about AI. And then they were having a pitch competition here in town, and it was a $200,000 pitch competition. Did you hear about that, Nicole?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah. And so they had another one a few years later for like $250,000, and so like I entered both of them, and so I didn't get the pitch in the first one, but I ended up getting some free stuff from Microsoft. Almost it ended up being almost $180,000 in cloud service.
Oh wow, that's sweet.
Yeah, and see, like, and most of that got awarded before I even officially formed the company.
Oh wow, that's sweet. Yeah.
And the reason why I had to form the company because I had got invited to a accelerator program that was going to give me $25,000 for the company. So I had to form the company so I could get a bank account to to take the money.
Yeah.
So people think you can't get help with your startup before you actually launch your startup. It's a big misnomer about that. But it's just I was able to leverage the ecosystem for like cash wise almost $150,000. No bank loan, no credit check. I was able to get almost $350,000 worth of free software and free stuff, and I got at least that much in training. I travel all over the world, and I'm saying leveraging the ecosystem. The ecosystem actually paid for all that. I didn't have to spend anything.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and then when George Floyd happened, I said, well, and all these companies start setting aside money for Black founders, and it just kept growing from that summer. That by the end of the summer it was over $3 billion, and by the end of the year it was ridiculous. But I said, well, the folks they are not going to know how to get access to that money because you have to know how to communicate with the ecosystem, the people in the ecosystem. So when you fill out an application for a pitch competition, you have to describe your business model and how you make money. But if you don't know how to do that, you can't get into the competition. You can't get into the program. And so that's what the whole idea of Startup Founder Best Practice was for learning how to, communicate with the ecosystem. And so, so it kind of grew to the point where we partnered with these companies and we're able to get by partnering with these companies, we were able to serve more people. That's what it really boils down to. Like in 2023, we partnered with Blacks in Technology. So we had opportunity to work with over 200 of their founders all over the world. And so then, also in 2022, we got this lean stack system, which was a framework for how do you go from an idea to launching your startup. Just on and on. Like I got a chance to participate in Goody Nation. Just so many programs where they literally helped me with our nonprofit. Because by that time, Goody Nation, we were doing workforce stuff, so they helped us with that. So it's just a lot of. So the idea about this slide is we partner with a lot of folks, and then like with a lot of the money stuff. So like for example,
I'm sorry.
Okay, the Founders Innovation Summit and Tour. So like Clark Partington, purchased 5, $100 tickets. Quint Studer purchased 25. Synergy purchased 10. And it's free hotel provided hotels for our guests. Let's see, somebody I'm missing over here. Where's Renaissance Bank? They purchased 25 tickets. You see what I'm saying? So that would enable the the attendees to not have to worry about paying anything to attend it. And we had speakers from all over. Last year we had speakers from all over the United States. This time we were, from like Texas and Alabama and stuff like that. So it was a really nice thing. So like went over to the Mobile for the Money Fest today, and literally this literally shocked me, because last year I went to Money Fest. I said, I was thinking, well, it was, quite a few people there, and this year they had some bad weather, so there's not as many. So our small thing was actually bigger than their thing this year.
Oh wow! Okay.
You see what I'm saying? We had between a reception the night before, we had over and the event, we had over 100 people, and just some really good networking, really good follow-up stuff after the thing. But it's through these sponsors we're able to provide the services to these things. And so our training programs like were provided by Florida Power and Light, the funding for that. And so we had a situation where we could put unlimited people in the platform, the framework, where you could test your idea out. And then we also partnered with Startup Science. This is a company right here, and so we're still able to provide that to anybody who participated in our program, and they get access to this platform that's got all the training, all the grants and stuff, all the tools you need for a startup. So it's like an ecosystem in a box. And so what we literally tried to do was just take the excuses away from anybody that really wanted to learn how to build and grow a scalable business model. And so people think you have to be, like, for example, today in Mobile, one of the speakers that had got invested millions of dollars, she's a non-tech founder. Most people think you have to be a tech founder to actually get started in this. And that's most of the programs I participate in all over the world. I would say less than half the people in those programs were tech founders. You see, but people think you have this idea you have to be a tech founder. But you have to get people that know about technology to help you build what you're trying to build. Now you can get AI to help you build what you're trying to build. But I just wanted to, to make sure the audience know the background while we're here. So you got any idea how many episodes we did in the past 6 years?
No, how many?
Over 270 episodes. So this same program, and most of those are consecutive episodes, because we only missed one event since we got started. But it's just really trying to help people, understand what it takes to be a startup founder, and try to understand a lot of this stuff. The main thing for me is, it's like, if you want to take advantage of this stuff, you have to know how to fill out the applications. Fill out the applications, you're literally pitching your business.
Yeah.
And so if you don't understand when it says describe your business, and you don't understand that you have to talk about 9 areas of your business, you're not gonna get selected. And so that's what it really boiled down. So this is a suite of programs we have access to, to kind of. What did you say your books, the first day it says clarity?
Yeah, that's the first chapter. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty
clear. Yeah.
But I think people don't realize how many resources are available. Like, over the Money Fest today was free.
Yeah.
You see, so
that it's a challenge getting to places now.
Oh yeah, and that's why we do our stuff online. So just real quick, I'll show you all the Money Fest. So I recorded all the sessions I went to. I did last year. I did the nonprofit track. This year I did the investor track, just so I can get information to share with founders. And so this is the transcripts over here. I dumped them in the Notebook LM. And so even though you people that you didn't get to go, I'm gonna copy this and I'll paste this in the chat. So you can use this to learn about what happened there. So the folks I know, if you got any questions, just let me know anytime through this thing. But anyway, based on those transcripts and the AI synthesizing those transcripts, you can ask questions here in the networking. Somebody today they were asking about SBA loans, and so this tool it just spit out what was covered about SBA loans.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a video that's based on all 5 of the sources. And you got presentations, reports, so you can take a look at those and sort of capture. But my thing is just like I did the same thing for the festival, not the festival, but the Black Expo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's sweet. Yeah.
So but I did share with her so she could have and use it. So yeah. So the next thing I want to show you, Nicole, is so I took your presentation and your LinkedIn file, but I need to make sure I can put my audio in here. Let me remove share and put it. Let's see. I just need to. I guess I need to remove it because I need to make sure I got the audio in there as well. So let me just redo it again. And so I, based on your presentation on Saturday and and then your LinkedIn profile, this is the one of the videos that was created.
Explainer. I'm really thrilled you're here today because we're going to tackle a trap that, well, let's face it, almost every single entrepreneur, creator, and small business owner falls into at some point. It's the stubborn belief that if you just hustle a little harder, sleep a little less, and push yourself to the absolute brink, your business is magically going to thrive. But today, we are going to completely flip that script. We're diving into the incredible work of digital strategist Nicole Dixon to understand why small businesses actually need infrastructure, not just pure hustle. We're going to explore exactly how you can move from scattered, exhausting activity to a highly efficient AI-enabled operating model. Okay, let's dive right into this. Imagine this scenario. If you took a 2-week vacation today, like starting right this exact minute, what breaks? Does the income just stop? Do your leads completely go cold? Does your marketing grind to a total halt? For the vast majority of founders out there, the honest, painful answer is yes. Everything stops because, quite frankly, everything is living exclusively inside the founder's head. I know, that is a visceral reality check, but it's exactly the realization you need to have so you can stop being the bottleneck in your very own brand. And this brings us to a super powerful reframe from Nicole Dixon. Listen to this. She says, burnout is not always a sign that a founder is outside their purpose. It is often evidence that the founder has no systems, automation, or operational support. Think about that for a second. So many founders hit this wall of pure exhaustion and immediately start questioning their passion. They think, man, maybe I'm just not cut out for this, or maybe I've lost my purpose. But actually, that emotional and physical exhaustion is just a solvable operations problem. It's evidence that you simply lack the technological support to handle the incredible loads you've built. So let's get into part 1, the real cause of burnout. To actually fix this burnout, we have to look at the literal structural cracks in our day-to-day operations. And the biggest crack of all is the absolute physical limit of our reality, 24 hours. Nicole points out that, 10 years ago, maybe you could go to bed at 3 a.m., wake up at 8 a.m., and just grind out the work. But eventually, your body and your business will absolutely hit a wall. When you are the one personally doing the marketing, the follow-up, the booking, the content creation, and the actual service delivery, those 24 hours just vanish. A business that relies entirely on your manual effort has a hard, unbreakable ceiling. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it takes your daily emotional struggles and directly maps them to strategic business flaws. It's eye-opening. Like, if you feel you have no time, well, the strategic reality is that you're trapped inside the business, acting as an employee rather than the founder. If you're experiencing missed money, hey, it's not bad luck. It's revenue leakage happening right under your nose because of a lack of responsiveness. If you're inconsistent online and feel invisible, the market simply cannot trust you. Validating these real pains is the very first step to actually systemizing them. Which brings us to part 2, the marketing trap. So, when founders feel all this operational pain, what do they usually do? They go out and buy more ads, or they post constantly on social media. They think massive exposure is the magical cure. But, guys, that is a really dangerous mistake. Marketing absolutely does not fix a broken operating system. If you pour water into a bucket full of holes, you just make a mess a whole lot faster. Nicole brilliantly calls social media rented land. Think about it. The platforms can change the rules, they can tweak the algorithm, or they can just sell the house entirely at any time. If you're paying for attention but you don't have an owned website, a booking system, or a solid way to capture leads, you are literally throwing your money away. If your underlying system is weak, marketing just amplifies the chaos. So, the crucial point here is that we have to completely redefine what a brand actually is. It's not just a fancy logo or your perfectly curated color palette or how aesthetic your Instagram feed looks. A real brand has heavy duty operations behind it. It's an active, answering follow up machine. A true brand answers the phone. A brand remembers birthdays. It delivers this consistent, reliable experience that builds deep trust over time. It is the infrastructure that does the heavy lifting for you while you are logged off. Let's shift to part 3. Enter the tech queen. To truly understand how to build this infrastructure, we have to look at the architect behind this entire system, Nicole Dixon. And Nicole's hero's journey is just fascinating because she didn't just wake up one day and decide to build an AI company. She actually started out running a media platform, Real Women Radio. She was selling advertising to small businesses, getting them tons of visibility. But right there, she discovered a massive gap. These businesses were getting all this exposure, but they couldn't convert it. They had no websites, no sales funnels, absolutely no follow up. They simply weren't ready for the attention they were paying for. And that profound realization is exactly what led her to launch Brand Builders, an AI enabled infrastructure built specifically to solve that after the attention problem. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate paradigm shift you've got to make if you want to survive and scale. Look at the left side, a hustle-based business. It relies entirely on your memory, pretty much guarantees you're going to miss leads, and definitely cost you your sleep. But over on the right, a system-supported brand. This uses automated nurture campaigns, captures leads around the clock, and actually retains your customers because the system never, ever forgets to follow up. It's making that massive leap from manual, exhausting labor to smart architectural design. Moving right along to part 4, your brand operating system. Now, let's get into the really good stuff, the practical tech solution Nicole built to bridge this gap. This is the integrated ecosystem of brand builders. It's not just one random tool, it's a whole cohesive stack. Honestly, my favorite part of the whole shebang is the 24/7 AI receptionist, which Nicole literally named Naya, Nicole's intelligent assistant. While you are getting your 8 hours of beauty rest, Naya is out there answering calls, texting clients, booking appointments, and qualifying leads for you. Add to that the 35 to 45-day automated nurture campaigns that send emails and texts, even happy birthday messages. It ensures you finally have owned digital property, so you're not just constantly crossing your fingers and relying on rented social media algorithms. 60. That is the magic number right there. 60 seconds. In today's hyper-fast digital economy, if a lead comes in and nobody responds within 60 seconds, that is literally cash walking right out your front door. The customer doesn't wait, they just move on to the competitor who does answer. And as a human being, you just cannot guarantee a 60-second response time while you're sitting in a meeting or driving your car or, sleeping. Only an automated system can guarantee that kind of speed to lead. Now, I know tech can feel super overwhelming sometimes, but let's move to this and see how this builds a clear, simple onboarding flow. Step 1, you get found through your website and solid SEO. Step 2, you capture those leads using forms and funnels. Step 3, you follow up instantly, like we just talked about using your AI assistant. Step 4, you convert those leads into real appointments and sales. And finally, step 5, you retain them with ongoing automated communication. Boom. It's a structured, logical journey straight from visibility all the way to customer loyalty. And finally, part 5, moving beyond the hustle. As we talk about implementing all this amazing automation, we absolutely have to address the biggest fear founders have: losing that personal connection. But Nicole is incredibly adamant about this one point, and it's so important. AI does not replace people. Nothing is going to replace the true human touch in business. The goal here isn't to turn you into some faceless robotic company. The goal is a hybrid model. You automate all that tedious busy work, the scheduling, the initial text replies, the appointment reminders, so that you can fiercely protect your own energy. That way, when you finally sit down across from a client, you are actually present, you're rested, and you are 100% focused on building a genuine relationship, instead of internally stressing out about the 5 other emails you haven't sent yet. So I want to leave you with this exact question to ponder as we wrap up. Take a hard look at your daily operations. What repetitive tasks are draining your time right now? What could be handed over to a system today, allowing you to double down on the high value human connections that actually drive your revenue? Remember, you don't want to build a business that stops the second you stop. You want to build a brand, and you build it with systems, not stress. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to start evaluating your own infrastructure today. See you next time.
What do you think?
That was really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, did it kind of capture your presentation on Saturday?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's really really good. So now let's hear the human side of it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So let's tell folks a little bit about your background and your family history and stuff like that, so they can kind of get a feel from where you came from.
Okay. My background is a little bit of everything. I started my first business probably in early 2000. It was called Small Business Administrative Solutions. And it's basically where I was doing payroll, and it's where I learned how to do taxes. So I knew learned the financial side of business. And so that was my jig for a while. Did that business still, and I still do taxes to this day. So little well-known secret. And it's just basically just a book of clientele. But in 2016, as I mentioned earlier, wanted to tell the stories of Black people in the community on the Gulf Coast and in the South. So co-founded Real Woman Radio, an internet-based radio station. We're celebrating 10 years this year, so super excited about that. And then but last year we launched something that I have been sitting on for quite some time, and it's called Brand Builders. Because basically, what was happening is you could sell a person worldwide reach on the internet, but if they did not have the digital infrastructure in place, then it was really nothing you could do with it, right? So if I sold, for example, if I sold Joe Blow tire shop ads and he didn't have a website, or he didn't have the capacity to ship the tires, or whatever the case may be, or somebody in Connecticut heard it and they wanted to tell their family member in Pensacola. Well, Joe didn't have no way for you to find them on Google. So I was looking for a solution that was well rounded, being that internet distribution gave you worldwide reach. And so we
Yeah.
came up with the concept of white labeling some software, and we decided to go with Go High Level. And we
Okay.
white label Go High Level, and that's how we came up with Brand Builders, and we
Okay.
just built that ecosystem around Brand Builders.
Okay.
And
Fantastic.
so yeah, that's how we got here.
Yeah. So that's so you the so help people understand what white labeling is.
Oh, yeah. So white label is basically I don't do the coding, I don't do the infrastructure, someone else does. And what they allow you to do is take your name or put whatever name you want on that software, and you can sell it as your own. And so you don't have to know unless I tell you that it's built off of Go High Level. I like to say it's built off of Go High Level because then people know that there is an infrastructure there, and then I just purchase the rights to resell their software under my own name.
Yeah. So tell us. So what are some of the features that they can expect? With your brand builder.
We have so many features. But basically, if I was to just like put it in a nutshell, which I'll go over some other ones, but the nutshell is that it'll teach you how to lead, capture, and sell. Basically, gather leads, capture leads, and sell leads. So leads are people who are interested in possibly your product. And so we have websites, funnels, payment processing, estimates, documents, membership, courses. I mean, some of everything. I would say everything you need to survive and thrive online. The only feature that I say that Brand Builders does not have is a bookkeeping feature. So you
Okay.
still have to go to QuickBooks. But outside of that, we can almost replace any software, and that is constantly changing because the developers are constantly working on it. And so one of our biggest features is our AI feature, which I talked about in that presentation. And in our AI features, we'll answer the phone. The AI agent will answer the phone for you, answer text messages for you, answer DMs for you, create content with you, create photos, even schedule out content like our Ask Our AI feature. And so that, and then we have this amazing new feature coming out where we're making websites in like 10, 15 minutes, literally. And 10 minutes is just me just giving it a lot of time. That's you maybe, but the average website, doesn't need that much time.
Yeah. So are the customers doing it themselves, or are you all helping them with that, or what?
Both. So it is do it for you, or you could purchase some systems where we would do it. I mean, do it with you. I mean, not do it with you. Do it yourself.
Okay.
And then coming this summer, we're gonna have it do it with us. So we'll have some workshops if you're local and virtually. And then we have do it for you, which is where we'll do it for you. We also have 24-hour support. So whether that's chat, whether that's jumping on a Zoom, or whether that's submitting a ticket, we're there with you 24/7. We have 2 knowledge bases. One is where you can just search, and the other one where you can search and get videos. So we just have a plethora of ways. Another amazing feature that I want to mention about brand builders is automation. So, you know how you might go in and schedule an appointment, you'll automatically get the text messages, you'll automatically get the emails. I mean, that automation can be triggered in so many ways. And we have something called the workflow AI. So let's say like you might not be as techie as you and I, right? And so you might just say, I just want it to remind people of their appointments. The workflow AI will pull it together for you, put the content together and everything. So and it's constantly evolving.
Okay. So that's sounds like a good option
Mhm.
for founders. So what's the response been like for you with that?
So it's been pretty good. We launched it last year in May. So at the end of this month, we'll be at a year. So I would say we have almost 100 accounts already, which I
Yeah.
think is pretty good for us. We're quite close to that. My goal is to be at 100 in August. So I'm hoping and praying we can get them.
Okay. So yeah. So you bring up an interesting point there, and this came up over in the investor breakout session today, and uh, so the speaker, she kind of said how to do that. So like the way startups works, or you set like a 3-year goal. So let's say you want to have $1 million recurring revenue after 3 years, and so
Mhm.
you take your your annual pricing model and divide that by that $1 million. So like let's say if your customers are paying $100 a year, you would divide that 100 into that $1 million, and I go, what is that, like 10,000 customers or something?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that 3 years you need to have 10,000 customers. So you work backwards to now, and see how many people you have to get in your sales funnel uh, each month in order to grow your business. Like say, so if you're doing a 10x rate, you would use a 10x scale factor. So it's just 7 numbers you have to work with, and you just reversing. But you have to set a goal. Is what the key thing is. But then when you do that, and you scale down a 10x rate, it'll tell you how many customers you have to get in your sales funnel each month in order to grow your business to reach that recurring revenue in 3 years. And that's how you tell whether your business is viable, because if it requires too many people to get in your sales funnel based on what you're charging, and it's the numbers are simple. It's your referrals, your acquisition rate, the cost, the monthly cost of your product or service, the churn. It's really simple to do, and this is the secret for building a scalable business model by just setting the growth rate that you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
So in the startup world, with the ecosystem for like the investor track, they're only going to be satisfied with a 5x to 10x growth rate.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us we're satisfied with a 2x growth rate. Like you double every year, but that's not good enough in the startup world with the investor track. So that's how you do a scalable business model. But what's so neat about that is what you have to do each month. It's not based on some phony projections.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so if like you even go high level, so you got your CRM in there, and so you can do your customer factory and get that working. So when you have that kind of knowledge about your business, then you know exactly what you got to do each week, each month. So as long as you do that, you can tell the bank or the investor what you need, and because you got the proof to show that your growth rate is what it said is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So and that's what the average founder doesn't realize when you're pitching, and like even on Shark Tank, they're asking questions, but they're asking questions to kind of reverse engineer what you're doing. And so like if you say you're charging $10 a month, and you're trying to reach this $1 million goal or whatever, and then we work backwards, and that says you got to have 10,000 people in your sales funnel each month, and they know you can't pay to get 10,000 people in your sales funnel each month. It doesn't make any sense, so it's not valuable. You see how simple it is?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done that. We're past those phases.
Yeah.
We know what we need to reach. That's why I have the goal of 100 for August, and
Yeah.
what our revenue goals are. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And so like that 10x rate allows you to scale at a slower pace, to get that curve in there. But what I'm saying is, like, you understand that, but the average founder doesn't understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? This idea you have to set a goal,
Yeah, I do. I understand. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
work backwards, and so you may take it for granted, I may take it for granted, but
Yeah.
so I can tell you based on the questions I heard today in a session, the people didn't understand it, and I last month I worked with founders from Africa, 9 different countries. They didn't understand it. Like it's the same way all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't take for granted that a person actually knows you, because like I didn't go to business school. You may have went to business school. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the dilemma is. Is you're trying to run a business, but you don't know all the terms. You don't understand all the stuff, and that's what I like about Notebook LM. It actually levels out your understanding. You get the knowledge, and then you can actually start understanding how to apply that knowledge to your business.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anybody in the audience have any questions? So generally, just tell what have you been seeing in your journey? Like through the chamber and through the the railroad. You sort of explained that the back office was the main problem you're trying to make sure people have a way to do that, and that is real yeah. So yeah, that yeah. So and I it's to me that like she said she's huge on the Notebook LM, and the only reason why I'm huge on it. So like I never worry about understanding anything, because if I don't understand it, I know where to go where I can synthesize the information.
Yeah.
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 that's a really really neat thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
but yeah, I
Go
would
ahead.
say not only is like so the other piece to why I created brand builders and what we're finding is a lot of people don't have their operations piece.
Okay.
So I think that not only at one time when I was looking at this brand builders, our software, it was for marketing purposes, but we're more integrated in business operations, right? So
Okay.
I'm a certified project manager, and the reason why I love project management is because it helps you think about something from a whole perspective, right? You have this viewpoint that most of your team members do not have. And your goal as the project manager is to get everybody to move along so the project moves along in an orderly, timely, costly manner, right?
Mhm.
And so I find that most business owners, they are not keeping a pulse on their whole operations. So one of the things that I like, that's why I call it I've moved from calling it an all-in-one marketing system to an AI operations management system,
Right.
because we're helping you to like we have DocuSign features where you can sign documents, we have estimates. So none of these principles are marketing tools per se, but they are all things that connect. Because if my marketing is working, then I'm sending out invoice. If my marketing is working, then I'm sending out documents that need to be signed. You know, so it's not just those just per se marketing pieces. And so and I say it time and time and time and time again, and I have to say it here, that it amazes me how many people start businesses, how many people start nonprofits, how many people start something where they're trying to generate revenue. And whether you when you have a nonprofit, you're trying to generate revenue.
For
You might be
sure.
trying to generate revenue through
Yeah,
grants,
yeah, people were
fundraising.
asking about that today too.
Yeah,
I see that. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
trying to generate revenue, but the number one problem I see people make is they don't have a marketing plan. So you
Okay.
can't fundraise, you can't get grants and show impact if you can't market. Even if I've gotten a grant, I need to be able to articulate that impact for the next grantor. If I'm generating revenue for customers that they're seeing results, I need to be able to articulate what it is. And a lot of people go in business because they want to solve they want to sell something, right? But you're
Yeah.
really a problem solver. That is what your goal is. Your goal is to solve problems. And so marketing is the number one mistake. And then the second number one mistake I see is sales. You gotta
Okay.
be a salesperson. You got to be a salesperson. Everybody, you hear people say, I don't like sales. Even if you are a nonprofit manager, you got to be able to sell the impact of what you're doing.
Yes. Yes. That's exactly exactly right. So yeah. So like in the startup world, um, and I say this because I think people don't realize that you can start with zero in the startup world. But if you like you get a storefront, you got to have some cash to get going.
Mhm.
And so the secret to the startup world is that if you have an idea, because like I met a lady today, she's in working on a PhD, but she has an idea that's based on what she studied in a PhD, and so she was pitching. She said she won a pitch thing that got her into a program, and so it's, I think maybe an eight-week program. And by the way, the Money Fest over in Mobile for the people here in Northwest Florida, you are eligible to participate in their programs. And
Mm.
so like you can ask that notebook I sent you, and it'll tell you what their programs are, and that you can actually take advantage of. And they got about 5 or 6 different programs that are really unbelievable, that to help you with your business stuff there. So that's kind of good. But so I kind of want to walk through, this so people understand the startup world and and the opportunities they're in. So this idea, you know, so in startups, the number one thing people think about technology, but what you have to have, you also have to have expertise on the problem you're solving. So you can have all the technology in the world, but if you don't understand the problem you're solving, it's not going to do you any good. So so the 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 first thing that the ecosystem, the organization that do the pitch competition, do the training program, or do have the mentors, they want to know what problem you're solving. And so the desirability test that you test your business idea with is how that's what determines how desirable your idea is, because it, like, if you're doing something that's not much better than what somebody else is doing, it's going to be hard to get people to switch to your solution. So the idea in the startup world, you want your the problem you're solving to be 3 to 10x better than what's already out there, and so that's where the innovation comes in. And so when you're trying to do something better than what's already out there, you have to innovate. And when two people working on the same problem, that's what causes innovation to happen. And then so the next thing, you have to pass this test of viability. So that's just based on, so like, for example, the problem test is for this particular customer segment, they have this problem and they're currently using this, and we bring a value proposition is this, and so that's kind of how you kind of walk through your whether you're solving a problem that's going to big enough to cause somebody to switch. And then your viability is based on your pricing model. So that's the 3-year goal. We were talking about. So you're saying in August, at the end of that time period, you want to have 100 customers or whatever. And so that's kind of like your goal. But so, and all you need is your revenue model, your pricing model, and your metrics, your churn, your acquisition costs, and that kind of stuff. And then the last one is feasibility. Can you kind of get up and running, in 90 days? And then so after you do that, then you develop a business model story pitch to get help with your idea. So like if you pitch your business model and people see that you can make money with that idea, that's when you get your co-founders. That's when you get your team together. That's when you get into these programs that give you money or give you training or give you in-kind service. And then the next step is, like, you have to go into demand validation. And so this is the believe it or not, this is where the marketing come in, Nicole. So you go out and interview 10 to 15 people in all these customer segments that you're trying to do, 10 to 15 people that has recently purchased something similar to what you're selling, what you're building. And then so you want to find somebody that's did that in the last 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for that is they can tell you what triggered them to go looking for something else. They can tell you all the products they tried, and they can tell you what they decided on, and then they can also tell you how they like it so far, and what jobs that they're still trying to do that the product they bought that they still can't do. And so these are 10 to 15 interviews, and these 9 questions that you tailor to your thing, you upload those to like a customer forces AI, and it comes up with the customer forces story. This is the thing that gets people to switch. And then it also has the jobs to be done. So what people are trying to do with the software, like your software, what are they trying to do? But then it also has the hiring and firing criteria. So that tells you what your solution has to have. So if you don't have this feature, your product gets fired. If you have all these features, your product gets hired. From that, you can design your solution. And then from that, you can do your sales pitch, and then you can go out and try your sales pitch to see if you can get any orders. But what people may not understand, the customer forces is all the information that you have on your landing page. That's all your marketing. That's how you take the people through this transition from switching to what they're already using to what you have. And so that's the process that that we do with the lean startup methodology, with the lean stack. And so that's how that works. But yeah, because if you don't want to build something that nobody's going to buy. That's when you do demand validation, you actually take in orders based on your landing page, not based on your solution.
I agree. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But that's how the innovation happens. But but imagine, I heard somebody say today at Moneyfest they have to interview hundreds of people or something. But with the AI now, you can interview 10 to 15 people, and it can help you actually do it. But the other thing is, what we give all the founders that enter our program, you can go to apply.kukuainstitute.org, and that we give you access to that whole framework to do that, and we also give you the prompt that simulates going through the whole thing. And I'll just share my screen here just so get the rest of the links off here. So to get in our program, I'll put this in the chat, and you get access to all the stuff that we've learned over the past 5.5, almost 6 years now to kind of move forward, leveraging AI. And then also we do office hours every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. I'll put that in there too, in the chat. So these are just kind of ways you get connected with what we're doing. And we admit, you just fill out a form that, and it takes 2 minutes to fill out, and you get access to the resources. That's how simple it is.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
So we try to remove all the roadblocks from people actually getting into these programs and stuff like that. So So anybody got any questions out in the audience to about moving forward and trying to understand the process? Yeah, I definitely appreciate you sharing your thoughts and what you're seeing, because I'm literally telling people I'm seeing the same thing. Like the people, I'm literally telling you, nonprofits, the traditional business people, they're the startup, they don't know what to do. Yeah, they literally don't know what to do. And that's why they have the money invested there, so you can help you understand what you need to do. Yeah. And so and with the AI now, you don't have to know how to do anything. If you just leverage the AI, it'll help you understand, get the knowledge you need, and help you understand. And everything about the startup world is open source. So don't let people trick you into having to pay to learn something. It's already out there on the internet, from credible sources, and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that high level tool is a really popular tool. I've seen a lot of people using that.
Yeah.
But because you can't, you like you said, without that back office, you can't
keep up with that.
You just do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah. So before we get off here, you want to tell people about your book and how to get your book?
Sure. So I have a couple ways.
How to get access to your software.
Yeah, I'm gonna do all that. So So my book, you can go to yourbrandistheblueprint.com. I'm putting that in the chat.
Okay.
And you can order and it'll come right to you. You can also get it at Amazon, Walmart. It's on Kindle as an ebook. It's on Apple Books as an ebook. I mean, the distribution is amazing. So anywhere there's a popular distribution site for the physical book or the ebook, you can get it. You can also sign up for Brand Builders, our AI operation system at Brand Builder. Oh, so RWR Brand Builders agency. And so if anybody would like to talk to me or want more information, maybe do like a one-on-one to see how those tools could be helpful in their startup process, I put my numbers 850-375-9001. And I'm also going to say my email address is knicole@rwrlive365.com. So I'm more than willing to talk. Like I said, we have 24-hour support. We have ebooks. We have free accounts. If you just want to start and check it out. But I'm here.
Right, fantastic. So we definitely appreciate you coming on. Yeah, any other last minute thoughts before we sign off here?
I just want to thank you for opening up this opportunity and this platform for me to come on and speak and talk about startups with you. Thank you for recording that presentation for me. I really appreciate that. And then I just want to remind all business owners, nonprofit people, anybody who's starting something, that my mantra is make moves. And make moves basically mean do what you came to do, because the world needs you. The world needs what you have. It doesn't matter who's doing it. It doesn't matter who already has it. It's just that if God gave it to you, make sure you make moves, because the world needs it.
Gotcha. Fantastic. We appreciate that. And my thoughts based on what I saw today at the Money Fest and what I've been seeing with just startups from other countries and people in the ecosystem. You know, there is a lot of challenges. There's a lot of misinformation, and so it is challenging because you can be getting advice from several different people, and they all tell you different things. So it's really confusing. And when I say people, like from what I saw today, people are really confused. They don't know what to do. So definitely leverage the ecosystem. But the other thing I saw today that, and I see this almost everything I do, and I mentioned this past Saturday. So like with the AI, just the audio recording, the transcripts, you don't even need the video. It literally synthesize, you get all those transcripts and you can literally analyze those transcripts. And so I never read transcripts. I never summarize transcripts. All I do, I have my personalized Lanicia prompt, and it knows my brain. It knows how I think, and it finds all the patterns in those transcripts and helps me move forward with what I'm trying to do. So there's information all around you. So why are you still taking notes? Why are you? Because you can't remember everything you hear. You leverage that. You got a recorder on your phone, and it does it. And most of the iPhones now, probably Android too, it transcribes the information already. So it's just that you have to leverage this data around you in order to kind of move forward. But that's kind of what my thing is. Why do things the hard way when you got these tools that can actually help you move forward. So next week I'm going to try to get a guy on that knows how to do applications in the cloud, and so hope I can get him scheduled so just different ways to go about getting your technology. And so will also say this. So, like on Saturday, I do office hours, but for the people who attended the are registered for that our innovation summit, if anybody want to come to the network, I mean the office hours, I'm going to be sharing how to use those prompts because I gave out a prompt package and what I've been finding out, people don't know how to use the prompts, and so I'll make sure people understand how to use the prompts to. So like Nicole, the one of the prompts in there, it like once you implement that prompt, and personalize it for you in the way you think, it actually puts you in the top, 5% of all 10 to 5% of all prompters.
Oh wow.
Most people don't understand AI, but once you know what it is, it's like it emulates your brain. And so, like, once your brain knows what you're trying to do, it figures out a way to get there. And so that's the way you use AI. That's the way you get information out of all this data that's all around you all the time. And so that's what the oh, so she wants your phone number again. I'll put it back up there.
Okay.
Yeah, right there.
Thank you. Didn't see that.
Okay. Well, we thank everybody for chiming in, and we appreciate you, Nicole. And like before, like you shut down your browser, just make sure your thing is finished up and loading your video, and I'll share that with you so that way you can actually use it for marketing purposes as well.
Okay. I appreciate that, Lord. Thank you again for having me.
Yes.
And thank you everyone for listening. And just like I said, just remember, the world needs you. Make moves.
All right, fantastic. We'll try to make some moves. All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.